What is up, people? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another daily video. Hope your weekend is going fantastic. I've been trying to play Friday the 13th, but I keep on getting a database error every time I try to log in, so I haven't been able to play. So hopefully I have a video up for the game tomorrow. Hopefully I can play it tonight, and I'll have a giveaway for the game too. But anyways, let's get into the topic of the video. We're going to be talking about Sony's marketing deals, all the games they have, and how this will affect Microsoft. Now, the reason this has kind of been brought up a lot recently, especially on podcasts this week, is well because Far Cry 5 is now marketing with Sony. That is clear. And Microsoft lost another partner. So FIFA, which has been marketed with Xbox for the last 4 years or so, is looking like, well, they're marketed with the PS4 now. And some people are wondering, rightly or wrongly, what the heck is actually going on at Xbox? How can you let all these big, huge games fall by the wayside, let Sony pick them up, when you yourself have a system to sell this holidays? And I kind of wanted to talk about all the different factors in this. This is like a sore subject for a lot of Xbox fans, and obviously a lot of PlayStation fans are through the moon about this. I've seen a lot of PlayStation fans celebrate the fact that Sony has basically everything this holiday. And all we know right now that Microsoft has is they have Shadow of War, which comes out in August from Warner Brothers. It's a sequel to that Lord of the Rings game, Middle-earth game. And they also have Assassin's Creed Origins, which hasn't been announced yet, but I know they have the marketing rights for. So that's at least 2 games that we know Microsoft has marketing deals for. Now in Sony, they have the marketing deal for Destiny 2, which is one of the biggest games of the holiday. They have a deal for Call of Duty World at War II, which I think is going to be on the uptick compared to Infinite Warfare. They have the marketing deal for Star Wars Battlefront 2, and there's a new Star Wars movie this holiday, so that thing is going to push a lot of units. They have the Far Cry 5 marketing deal, which we found out this week that that game's coming out in February. They had the Red Dead Redemption 2 marketing deal, and that game was supposed to come out this holiday, but now that game comes out in May or sometime in spring of next year. Now we found out that FIFA, which comes out in September and is usually the best-selling game worldwide every year, or at least was last year, is now marketed with Sony and Microsoft. That was a big one. Microsoft co-marketed that game pretty well. They kept the Legends team exclusive for that. So as you can tell, a lot of the seesaw here, it's very tilted in one favor for Sony, and of course Sony also has Lawbreakers, but who knows when and if that game is coming out. Well, not if, but who knows when it's coming out, and if anybody really even cares. Of course, there's a bunch of other unannounced games for the rest of the year. Bethesda's going to have some games. Ubisoft, I mean, if there's a new Splinter Cell, who's that going to market with? South Park. So there's some missing parts to the equations about the big games and exactly who has the marketing deals for this. And the pause for concern for a lot of Xbox fans is they feel that since Sony has sucked up all these marketing deals, that Microsoft can't properly explain or market to people this holiday why they should get Scorpio, because they won't be able to use any of those big games in any of their marketing to get across the point that, hey, this is the place you want to play all these third-party games, because the Scorpio was built around that idea of being a third-party, huge, best place to play type of machine, right? And I mean, that's a valid point. I mean, Microsoft, if you would want, I think you would want to be able to showcase to people, to be able to align your brand, the Xbox and the Project Scorpio, along with those huge games, right? So on the flip side, what Sony's doing is exactly what I would do if I was the competition. If I was Sony, I'd be like, listen, you know, we know Scorpio's coming, and we know that Scorpio, just on the basis of how powerful it is going to have the best versions of the game. So if I was Sony, I would do exactly what they did. I would go out and I would buy up all the marketing rights for every single one of the games that were coming out this holiday. That's what I would do. And that's the smart thing. So, I mean, it's just business from that aspect. But how does this, will this negatively affect Xbox? Some people say yes, it will definitely hurt Xbox, and some people say no. And I am not really sure where I lie yet. Because a lot of the games that are coming out this holiday are all sequels. Destiny 2, FIFA is obviously a yearly franchise, Star Wars Battlefront 2. All these games that are co-marketed with Sony are all huge sequels or yearly franchises that everybody knows is on every system. So you have to question the effectiveness of the marketing, right? Do they see the numbers and they think to themselves, hey, maybe it's not worth to go in a bidding war with Sony to try to spend X amount of $1 million to promote the system? Because they're going to do their own promotions in their own ways with their own commercials and their own deals and their own games. Do they feel it's worth it? Right? I mean, maybe they feel that the money, to spend the money to market with those games isn't worth it. Of course, then there's also the idea that maybe a lot of these companies didn't want to market with Microsoft and they wanted to market with Sony, who was the market leader. That's a fair point. A lot of people just assume that how could you let these deals walk? How could you let FIFA not market with you? And it's like, it's a two-way street here. Microsoft could want to market with FIFA, but EA might just be like, you know what? We did it for the last 4 years. We're going to go in a different direction now. And sometimes that's how business works. Microsoft, and then you think about maybe Microsoft felt that the money that they would have had to spend for these marketing deals is best invested somewhere else. Phil's talked about building a bigger and better first-party stable and bigger games and different things, and we've seen the investment in Mixer and stuff like that. So maybe they felt the whatever money amount you could imagine, let's just say $50 million to market all these games, maybe they felt that $50 million was better spent someplace else. We don't know. It's all speculation because we're not in these meetings. We don't know the analytical data that these guys have. I mean, even if you go back to the original Destiny 1, which was heavily marketed almost as a PlayStation exclusive at certain points, the final sales figure for that game were remarkably close between PS4 and Xbox One. So maybe Microsoft just feels that there's no need to market with those games and spend that money because the return is so little. I mean, it's that possibility. But I get it from Sony's side. Sony wants to align, and if you notice, a lot of it is like play it better on PS4 Pro, right? They obviously want to push the PS4 Pro. It's $400. Last holiday, they didn't really need to advertise it because the Sony faithful and the Sony fanboys, the really big supporters, were going to buy the PS4 Pro. So they didn't really need to advertise it. It was going to sell based on that. But now, those people are gone. They have the PS4 Pro. So Sony's got to do a little more advertising to push PS4 Pro. And what you do, you start aligning yourself with some of these bigger brands. Like, FIFA 18 better on PS4 Pro, right? And then you start seeing these commercials about dynamic 4K resolution on the PS4 Pro. And you're probably going to get a price cut for the PS4 Pro this holiday to $350, right? Because Sony needs to start pushing that. Now, another thing I saw was what if Microsoft letting all these deals go saves them enough money where they could potentially, and this will help them release Scorpio at $400 by saving the marketing money. Is that really worth it? I mean, if Microsoft's going to launch the system at $400, I think that is a really great aggressive price point. And a lot of this is obviously just speculation because we don't know what the price point of Scorpio is. I think when we find out what the price point is, I think we'll know a lot more about it. If Scorpio's $500 systems have had a tough time selling on this market. So if the Scorpio is $500, then it probably wasn't worth aligning with all these different games because not a lot of people are going to buy a $500 system outside of really hardcore Xbox fans, and you don't need to spend the marketing to get those people to buy your system anyways. So I think the price point is absolutely key here, right? because I'm still waffling on the price of the system. I'm not sure how much the system's gonna cost. One day I think it'll be $400. Like it can't be more than $500. And the next day I'm like, but look what's in it. Is it possible? Is it gonna be $500? And not knowing what the price is, I think also affects this marketing stuff. If it's really expensive, do you bother to spend the marketing with those games? Because like I said, all those games are multi-platform games. Everybody knows FIFA and Call of Duty and Destiny 2 are on both systems, regardless of the anecdotal evidence you hear from people like, well, I went to GameStop and so-and-so didn't know that it was on Xbox. I mean, I get it if it was a new IP. If it was new IP, that'd be a different story. Like if it was BioWare's new game, their new IP, and it was marketed heavily with PlayStation, then that's a bigger deal because that is a new IP. It's never been done before. People might actually think that is a PlayStation exclusive based on that, like they did with PlayStation with Destiny 1. But as far as we know, all the games that are announced so far are all sequels, and people know. But yeah, it is weird that Sony, but it's not. Let me rephrase this. Sony's doing exactly what they should be doing. They are preventing their competition, Microsoft, from aligning with the huge games and telling people that those games are going to be better on Scorpio. Sony's doing exactly what they should do. They're locking that stuff up. So Microsoft's going to have to figure out another way of doing that. But at the same time, is Microsoft trying to get these deals? Do they feel the money is better spent somewhere else? Is there gonna be another game this holiday that is every game basically going to be marketed with PlayStation? Do the publishers, would the publishers rather align with the first party, with the market leader rather than with Xbox? I mean, who knows the answers to all these questions? But we do know that it'll affect Microsoft on some level, and maybe they're fine with it. Maybe they think it'll have little effect. I mean, they have said in the past that the Xbox One S, Phil stated this, that they expect that one to sell the most. And he's right, because it's going to be $200 this holiday, probably on Black Friday, most likely bundled with Game Pass for 3 months or something. That is going to sell like hotcakes. And while I think Scorpio will sell extremely well to existing Xbox hardcore fans, I think in a better percentage than PS4 Pro, so to PS4 fans, I'm not sure that casual people, the ones who are on the lookout for $200 systems, are going to be like, you know what, I'll spend the extra $200 to get a Scorpio. I'm not sure that's the case. And I know people, when you look at surveys and stuff, that people care about resolution and graphics. Of course they do. Of course they do. But I'm not sure that people are willing at this juncture to switch from PlayStation to Xbox just yet. I mean, this is untested waters, basically. Mid-gen console cycle upgrades have never been done before. We don't know how the market or the people in it will react. They say the PS4 Pro is doing okay. The attach rate last holiday was alright, but it wasn't gangbuster. But like, we still don't know if these things will be successes, because it's never been done before. There's no historical data to back these things up. So it's possible Scorpio comes out and sells like gangbusters, but it's also possible that Scorpio comes out and just sells okay, just like the PS4 Pro did. And of course, it all depends on the price. Really, a lot of this has to do with the price of the system, I think, in my personal opinion. Because if they're going to sell it for $500, they're probably only expecting to sell it to a core base of Xbox fans, and no sort of marketing, whether it's with Far Cry or Red Dead or Destiny, will help sell Scorpio to somebody else, especially ones who's not on the market to buy a new $500 system. Now, if it's $400, that's really interesting, because then you're competing neck and neck with the PS4 Pro, and you can do a lot of different things there. And maybe Sony knows what the price of the system is. I don't know. Maybe they know what it is, and they want to just snatch up all the marketing before the word gets out that the Scorpio is really, really, really awesome, and it's also really competitive with the price of the Pro. So I mean, who really knows We'll find out in like 2 weeks at E3. Oh man, it's gonna be a very interesting E3 to see what the strategy that Microsoft employs to inform people about Scorpio and how they need it, especially now that Sony has even more and more marketing deals to prevent them from doing so. So anyways, that's going to be the video, guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Consider subscribing for more content, and I will see everybody later.